And
Say it again. Hello, everybody. Welcome to What You Need to Know. I am Sybil Wilkes, and we are live on this Thursday. It is the 17th of September, and it is always just such a dear, dear, dear joy to have George Wallace with us on Thursdays.
Hello.
Hello, Doctor.
Good morning, everybody. You know me. It's always morning for me. What a lovely day. I'm so happy to be here. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, where we had a lot of liquid sunshine last evening.
Oh, sounds like Florida, huh?
Yeah, a lot of liquid sunshine. And it's getting kind of bad. They're starting to name these storms up to black people. We've been talking about that for a while, you know. Hurricane Sally is getting close. It's getting close.
Yeah.
When should they get to Ruby? Wasn't it like 10 years ago they said that they were running out of names?
Yeah, and that's what they're getting close to again. Yeah, we're already at us.
Have we had a Sybil yet? You
No.
wait till a black Sybil come through. Oh, hell. I'm getting the hell out. I'm going to the airport when they say Hurricane Sybil coming. I'm out of here. You ain't seen no running.
Then you're going to fly, huh?
Hurricane Sybil, even Sybil, you know how bad you're going to be.
George, before we get any further, let us introduce this lovely lady who is here with us today, our former colleague and a media maven in her own right in the city of Chicago, especially know her and love her from radio and television. Hello, Jeanne Sparrow.
hello, Sybil Wilkes. Hello, Dr. Wallace. How
Good
y'all
morning.
doing?
How are you?
Sybil, this is Jeanne Sparrow. This is the lady I worked with. I worked with you in radio, and this lady taught me so much in radio. I used to think I could come in when I got to WGCI.
And got that eye.
Listen, I thought I could just walk up in there, like a lot of other comedians too, thought I could just walk up in there at 6 o'clock and do radio.
Right.
She's there at 5:30 doing prepping, and I'm just going, and it finally hit me. She taught me that you got to know what you're doing before you know what you're doing. And I tell you what,
my pleasure. And you taught me, George. How about that?
No, I don't know what I taught you, but I pissed her off one time. We'll talk about that later. Sybil, I made her cry. I made her cry on air.
Shut up, George.
Yes,
I was
yes,
so
I-
mad. Oh,
Yeah,
I
we'll
want
tell
you
you
know
about
how
it.
when you get so mad, you want to fight somebody and you start crying, and it's that cry mixed in with that anger, and you flush.
Yeah.
That's how I was with George. Only once in my life, and he was fooling around.
Wow.
And he
And I-
shouldn't have been.
And we'll tell you about it later.
So did the Louisiana come out of you, Jeanne?
Girl.
There's a whole-
It came up, around, out. I cursed him smooth out.
Oh.
Like I wasn't raised in the church with good morals and
It was
a
pretty bad.
grandmother who would beat my butt. I cussed him out.
Sybil, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
bad.
And it was not only her, it was everybody in the station that morning. Everybody in the station. I pissed
picked
off.
the wrong
No,
one.
wait a second. Everybody in the city of Chicago was pissed off at something that I did, Sybil.
Okay, so let us just say, instead of waiting, what happened?
All right. So
And I want to hear the truth. So, Jeanne, please.
yeah, so I will tell you. So George, Sybil, George is the most generous, lovely man in the
Yes.
world.
Yes.
But he also has a propensity to tell jokes and to play practical jokes on people.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm gonna just set that up right there. So when we were working together at GCI, I want to say it was the first book, the first ratings period
Ooh.
that we were together, we won. And won in everything. We were number one, 12 plus in all of the different demos, everything. So George decided to take us on a trip to Paris, the whole team. We all went, and like one day I had the paper out, I'm reading, and there was like a big ad for United Airlines. And he was like, "You never been to Europe?" I was like, "No." I was like, "But I'd love to go." So we went to Paris and London. But one of our team members, Joe Soto, his wife was expecting at the time his first daughter. And so he couldn't, it was right around her due date. And so he couldn't go. And he was like, yeah, his wife wanted him to go, but he was like, no, I'm not going to miss this.
Sure.
So George told him, I'll make it up to you. So then I want to say it was the following. It was around the same time. It was right
About a month later.
It was about a month later. it's the World Series. And Joe is a huge baseball fan. Anybody who listens on V103 knows, right? We are both still there. Right. Well, we moved over there because we were at GCI, now we're at V. But so he told George he was going to bring him to the World Series. Wow. And Joe was so excited. He was like a little kid.
George.
I had to pay him back. So, listen, not only Jeanne, I looked around because, I said, y'all are stupid. I use the word. None of them have ever been anywhere. They hadn't been to London. I just looked around and go, these people are crazy. The Karen Lightfoot, Kelly G, the whole crew. I think it's 9 or 10 of us. They've never been anywhere. I said, damn it, that pisses me off. We're going. I'm taking the whole crew. They went in and talked to the manager, and we got United Airlines all set up, and we got them in airplane tickets and everything. And we went, but Joe couldn't go, and that's just hard. But
so Joe shows up. Let me stop you from lying right now. Joe shows up on the day that they were supposed to leave to go to New York because it was the Yankees and somebody. Joe, we were on the air that morning. They were going to leave right after. Joe had a little bag with him. They're ready to go. He's all excited. He's got his jersey on. We're all excited for him. Yeah. Baby has arrived at this point. His wife is like, go, go, go. I've got all the help. Enjoy yourself. This is the once in a lifetime. You've dreamed about this. George gets on the air and says, you thought I was serious?
No, Jeanne, I said, where you going?
Where you going? Yeah, where you going? You thought I was serious? Oh, we almost broke every rule in the FCC.
Oh, the words.
We almost cursed him out on the air that day.
I held it for over an hour.
And we were mad. I literally, Sybil, he usually stood right next to me. I was like this.
And then she walked out of the room, and it hurt me. It was hurting him so bad.
I was so mad. I was mad, and I came back like pissed mad, like red face, whatever. I was like, George, you were the lowest down, dirtiest dog. I called him every name, and I even made up some. And I had to make some up on the air because I wasn't going to allow myself to curse. Even Marv and Elra, Marv Dyson.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody.
Because the GCI Mafia,
that's
everybody loved Joe, and
the
people
city of Chicago,
calling in like, George, we ain't never doing shit for you no more.
George Wallace, you dirty son of a bitch.
Dirty son of a bitch. I mean, everything. Val Landon, may she rest in peace. Val was met because her and Joe were tight because she did news, he did traffic, so they were thick as thieves, those two. And Val was like, this is just, I thought you were a good man. And turned around and walked out.
How long did this go?
Over an hour and a half.
Hour and a half on the air. And
drive time, 7
of course.
Foot was hot.
Oh, I know she was
hot. I was just like, I'm getting hot thinking about it. And then finally he goes, it's a joke. And then we was all still mad. Mess with us like that. I mean, I was crying. We were all upset. And here's Joe the whole time. It's okay.
Oh,
it's okay.
Oh,
like I should have known it was you playing a joke and whatever. But then they went and George had box seats for him. And I mean the pictures. And Joe came back and he was on cloud 9 for like the rest of the year. Yeah. And so I said, you know what? George got a good heart. Sometimes he got an evil spirit, but he got a good heart.
But Jeanne, it was so bad. Even I cried. Even I wanted to cry. I held it back. It was so bad and so sad, Sybil. I wanted to cry.
How long did you guys work together?
6 months.
Yeah, no, it was more like a year.
Like a year, and
it was a year.
Hey, Sybil, that's when I got fired. So
that's why, because he's still mad about it. It was 20-some years ago. He's still mad. Why are you still mad, George?
So I'm still mad because when I left, we were number 1.
You guys were so good, yeah.
Higher than any numbers ever been. And then Elroy Smith said, we think we're going to go in another direction. But then the book came out, and then we were number 1. But thank God for that. Something always, when one door closes, another door opens. And that's why I was so blessed. I could have still been in Chicago eating at Patillos and stuff like that. I moved on to other places, you know. And
Oh.
they used to let me do the Tom Joyner show and WGCI at the same time.
Yeah.
Which was
Yeah.
unusual because back then V103 and GCI were not
No,
on the
they-
same company.
No.
Y'all were a competition, and sometimes
right.
he'd dip off in the room, and I'm like,
What the?
only
But-
George, only
But
George.
people that are watching, this is Jeanne Sparrow on Chicago radio and television. She's smart, one of the smartest. Let me tell you something. These two ladies that are on the air right now, I can just tell you, I might just be quiet today because they both went
That's
to
not going to happen, George.
what did y'all go to school?
Northwestern University.
And they really think they something. Let me just tell you something. They think you can't tell them nothing. Between the two of them, ain't shit they don't know. Excuse me.
And Jeanne Sparrow has made an amazing transformation from radio. For years, you did morning television. How long did you do TV, Jeanne?
Oh gosh, because I started in TV while I was still in radio, kind of part-time and things like that. So my career overlapped, but morning television, I went to NBC for a while, then I left, and then I had my own show at the U, at WCIU for about 8 years. As I like to say, I've done about 4 tours of duty in morning. You know, Sybil, you know, I mean, from our shadow traffic days. Remember when you trained me?
Oh my God. And I was thinking about that today.
Yes.
Oh my God. That's nice. So, hey, I'm with the best. Like I said, I'm with the best.
Yeah. When Sybil left to go work with Tom, like that's how long ago, she remembers me from the very beginning of my career when she was heading out from Shadow to go and work with Tom on his syndicated show. Cause I basically stepped into the position she was doing at GCI. I did traffic in the morning and the afternoons for Shadow at the top of the Hancock, or as Doug like to call it, the top of the cock.
Now y'all get nasty. Now you get nasty.
That was the late great Doug Banks, and to this day, Tom still doesn't believe that we were at the Hancock because he always threw it to the Sears Tower, right? Yeah. And so he came to the Sears Tower one day, and he said, "I'm downstairs," and I said, "Well, come on up." He said, "They said you're not here," and I said, "You're downstairs at the Hancock," and he said, "No, I'm at the Sears Tower, where I always throw it to you." And I was like, oh, okay.
We're not there.
Well, I just want to thank you two ladies for being in my life. And I tell you what, when it comes to radio, you two know how to do it. And America, get ready for these two right here tonight. I know there's so much to talk about, Sybil, today.
So there is so much to talk about. And folks are checking in from the Shy to Eugene and saying hello and sending you their love. And so as we talk a little bit of news, we will also get back and talk more about you guys and the history you made in radio together, as well as other things that are on your mind. So the What You Need to Know newsletter, if you don't know, Jeanne Sparrow is...
Oh, I know. I've been following you, Ms. Wilkes.
Thank you so much, Ms. Sparrow.
What a great job you guys did last night. The Divine Nine, let me tell you about.
Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much.
No, it was a great opportunity, and I thank all the presidents of the Black fraternities and sororities who came together, and we had an incredible opportunity to strategize, to come up with a 9-point plan, and to not only to educate, but to get people motivated to go out and vote. And the day that we had it was Tuesday, and that was 7 weeks from that day is when we will go to the polls November 3rd. Or if you are a mind to go a little bit early, we definitely want to encourage that as well. So a shout out to all of our presidents who are still watching us and staying with us, and we are still working with. So talking about politics a little bit, it goes on, doesn't it? And
every day.
Every day. How do they find stuff to mess with us with? What? Okay, I'm sorry.
I know.
It's not they. It's not they. It's him.
Well, him is trying to get the Republicans to come up with more money for this additional coronavirus stimulus plan. As you remember, in the month of May, the Democrats passed a very healthy stimulus plan, some $3.3 trillion.
Yes.
Republicans waited and waited and waited, and they finally pushed their one Negro Republican out there with their plan, and it wasn't enough. It was just over $1 trillion, and they finally brought it to a vote last week, and the Democrats said, "No, we're not messing with that. Go get out of here
No,
with that."
let me tell you what he's doing. He's such a BSer. Y'all know this guy is a great salesperson. He's a great salesperson. He has now gone to Congress. He's gone to Congress and says, give them more money. Let's come up with a bigger budget. So he can take credit for saying, I went back and I had the Democrats. I brought the program together. Now we have more money for everybody. He's going to take credit for it because he's such a great BSer. And people are buying it. Let me tell you something. When he spoke at Town Hall last night, he's a great BSer. He's a great salesperson. And he'll have you shaking your head, as you know. And you automatically go like that. This guy is a pain in the ass. He's a bullshitter. He's a thief. Go ahead.
There's got to be a way for him not to win this time, because, and I mean just in terms of this coronavirus stimulus plan, because he is really trying. He's scrambling. He's scrambling now because all of these things are, even the way that he positioned himself at the town hall on Tuesday night, and he wasn't talking about downplaying the coronavirus and its seriousness. He talked about upplaying.
Right, and the herd mentality. I need him to go sit down. But you know what? The thing that bothers me about him asking for more money on this little part, I know that when you start talking trillions, it is not paltry, but it is paltry compared to what happened in the spring. It's like it's not going to have the same impact. And just because you ask somebody to add more money to nothing does not make it something. But as George said, he's so full of it that and somehow people, I think this is that perfect example of that cognitive dissonance when people want to believe something so badly. Oh, he's doing all this for us. No, he's doing less than half of what happened in the spring. So when you get that little $5.22 check in the mail, so-called stimulus, because that's all it's going to be, it can't be what it was. And that wasn't even enough.
Right. And people are still waiting in some respects. People are still waiting for that first check. They haven't gotten anything.
Right.
And the people that are working and got that payroll tax break, they're going to have to pay that back come next year after he's out of office.
He loves to talk about the stock market. Well, guess what? The stock market is doing well for people that's in the stock market.
Right.
They call it a B shape. They call it a B. That is not the economy. Now we're calling it a K to people that know. It may go up for some people, but that K is coming down. He said today, yesterday, almost everybody, 80% of people own stock. Not really.
No.
Not really.
That shows you. Yeah, well, his friends, exactly. But that shows you how disconnected he is, as well as his attorney general. But we'll get to that.
I'm still hot when I saw that man's face. Okay.
So let's talk about that town hall, George, that you mentioned. There were a number of opportunities for people who say that they are undecided. They were there at the Philadelphia Town Hall Tuesday night, anchored by George Stephanopoulos and hosted by ABC News. A number of Black folks, and I got to give a shout out to the assistant professor. My God. Oh, my God. Professor Alicia Black, which I love, was talking about healthcare because she is a woman who has suffered from sarcoidosis all of her life. And so she started to ask him a question about pre-existing conditions. And as he tried to interject, she said, please stop and let me continue my question.
That's for the first time anybody's done this. Please stop. He's always interrupting people. Excuse me. The lady said, wait until I finish.
I think she said talk to the hand. I'm not really sure, but I think that's it.
Like, first of all, but you know what though? Why is it that it took a civilian to do it and the press corps has not been able to, other than a select few who have challenged him, and it took them so long? Why is it that our colleagues in the business, was it because they thought that, that he's playing business as usual.
No, Jean.
This is the first town hall where people actually got their questions out.
Sybil,
And
it's a new day. It's a new day. So he has to present himself in a different package now. He knows he's in trouble. When they had taught him, sit back, relax, listen. That's why the interviewers have never saying, stop, let me get my question. Last night, he was trained to listen. And when you listen,
I don't know if you can train him to do anything.
Well, that's the part of the bullshit, and he won on it because he looked kind of good doing what he was doing. He stopped and listened, and that's why you noticed it.
Yeah,
that's why you noticed it.
Well, I noticed him listening to her, as well as the black pastor who asked about the tone deafness of their slogan, "Make America Great Again." He said, what makes you think that you are making America great again? It's never been great for us. As Black folks. It's never been great. And you all are really positioning yourself as tone deaf. And I thought it was enlightening. And the fact that George Stephanopoulos was able to fact check him during the process.
Yeah, I still don't think George was as strong.
No, he wasn't.
No.
He should have cut him off many a time. He should have.
But I think, like you said, Jean, there is still a great deal of apprehension on the part of the media because they are trying to figure out how the next couple of months, the next 6 weeks are going to go in terms of dealing with this man and what will happen if he does win re-election.
Don't say that. Please don't say that. It is not possible.
Yes, it is.
It is not possible.
George. It's possible.
He cannot win.
A lot of people didn't think his ass could win the first time.
That's right.
But look at where it was. And I remember, I'd never forget this 6 weeks, 4 years ago. And I kept telling people, do not misunderstand and underestimate the hidden power of racism, the dog whistles, all of that stuff. Do not fool yourself into believing that this world has changed that much just because Barack Obama had two terms.
Don't get me wrong. I think there's a possibility that he could win, but he can't win.
He really can't. Literally, the whole world is going to go to hell if he wins again.
Well, listen. Oh, please don't say that. Please don't say that. Well, and if it does happen, Sybil and I already said we're moving to another country. She's going to Switzerland, or she's going to Spain. I'm going to Cleveland, as we said before. but no, I really think.
Hello, Cleveland. Thanks for watching.
It's been nice knowing you.
Yeah.
Listen, I went to school in Cleveland. See, you guys went to school in Chicago. I went to University of Akron. You guys went to Northwestern, as you so like.
Okay, wait, George. I hate to be the one to tell you, the University of Akron is not in Cleveland.
It's the metropolitan area. It's right down the street. It's
half an hour down the road, George.
My son was born there. LeBron James is my son.
Oh, dear God.
I told you I'm like Trump. I'm a good bullshitter.
And that's how you know Trump.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got a good heart.
No, and I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't like him. I've never hated anybody, Jean, in my life. I have never hated somebody. I really hate Donald Trump. He keeps saying he's done more for the black people than any other president. Well, how come we don't know?
Yeah. We know that he hasn't. But I'm going to give you another perspective to think about. And this is something me and my friends have been talking about. And one of my friends, who's much more of a biblical scholar than me, said, she was like, even Pharaoh had a role to play.
Come on. Oh, nice, George. Is that upside down?
It's upside down. Okay. And I do think that for us to face as a country the stuff that we have wrought as a nation, not only to us as Black people, but to immigrants to other countries, the things that we have done that have not been right, there is a reckoning going on, and this man is the catalyst for that. Even Pharaoh had a role to play, and that's all I'm going to say.
Come on, George.
That's it.
Come on, doctor.
Well, listen,
and you can't hate him for that. He was born into that role.
I don't give a damn, Jean. Let me tell you something.
hate you, George. I hate you.
I want to be the first in line to spit on his grave. Listen. What he did to what is Central Park 5, what he's done to everybody, the kids breaking up the families. Let's go back.
But has he done it to us, or have we done this to ourselves by sitting back and allowing him to become president? By not putting forth the effort that we're putting forth this year is what we should have been doing in 2016.
No, we did the right thing. We've done the right things. It's just people and the Republicans that back him. Even Dr. Fauci, people that don't tell the truth, they are enabling him to get away with a lot. When he stands there and tells you that the virus is just going to go away, use the Clorox, I think there's a time for those guys to stand up and say, that's not true. Stop lying and don't let him get away with anything.
Well, that's true.
So we don't do it. All of us voters, we were 3 million over.
But we have to, George, we have to take some responsibility for this. We have to.
What are you talking about, like the 55,000 people in Chicago, in Detroit that didn't vote?
I'm talking about all of the people who said this man cannot be president and did not go out and vote, who just sat on our asses and did not go and vote. All of those who said, I don't like Hillary, I don't like him, I'm not going to vote. All of us who did not do our homework and know that this man was not the one for this job, and just sat back and just assumed that Hillary was going to win and that it was all going to be okay. And we did not follow him. We did not follow his people and the way that they plotted and planned out this election victory.
55,000. We lost about 55,000 in the state of Michigan. There were 277,000 blacks that didn't vote.
He won by 1.2% or less in 4 of the key states, including Florida. If we had done that and gotten people out to vote and make it as vitally important to them as we did in 2008, and even less in 2012, then he would not have won. We did not do our job. I think we have to take a lot of responsibility for that.
We seem like we're doing a lot of work now. We seem like we're doing a lot of work.
Yeah, we are.
I don't know, Jean, Sybil, I don't know. I'm trying to find the people that are not registered to vote.
But you know what, though, George? I think some of it, and I kind of sit in between the two of you on this one, because while I do on one hand,
that's why we put you in the middle, right there.
But on this particular thing, because the thing is that happens, I think, with a lot of young people, especially, and those are some of the conversations I've been having. There is an apathy. That, and I think some of that is our responsibility as well as, kind of the rising elders of our generation and things like that, is that we haven't done as good of a job connecting who we are and how far we've gotten to our civic responsibility.
And that's key.
Yes. It really is, because, and even though there are some amazing young people, I mean, look at Black Lives Matter. There are amazing young people doing a lot of work. There is a sharp divide in that age group between the people who are really out there trying to foster some sort of awareness of the world around them, not just about voting, but everything. And then there are young people who are completely lost and don't think anybody cares about them.
And that's something that we talked about the other night with the Divine Nine. And that is one of the initiatives, one of the 9, is that we have to talk about the issues that are important to our young people, the down ballot election spots, the down ballot issues that are of great significance to our communities. Not talking about it as important as it is to get somebody else in the White House. We have to talk about what is driving the day-to-day lives of these people. And that is something we have not done.
And in some ways, that's even more important, because judges, the thing that always bothers me, and if enough people who have been public defenders or even just defense attorneys, or on the other side of it, the voting for judges is one of the most important things you can do as a Black person, because those are the people that are deciding our lives, people's lives, because we are more likely to be sitting in front of them. We are more likely to be judged because of the color of our skin when we sit in front of them. But what's the thing that we vote on the least, or just just tick off boxes
Wonderful.
because they're already there is the judges. And I do my homework, and it's a pain in the butt.
It
have to
is.
go looking for stuff.
You do.
But it's more important.
And so maybe we have to spoon feed. Maybe we have to sit down and have those conversations. But it is so important that and as you say, Jean, the judges, but also the DAs, those who are
the DAs, yes,
who are going to be bringing those charges against our young people, and even in some case, maybe even against George Wallace. We don't know, but those are the people that we have to do our homework about and find out where they stand. And our friend Sean King, the activist, has done an amazing job of bringing to the attention of people who are really progressive in the way that these charges are brought against our people these days. In cities like Philadelphia, and look at in Chicago with Kim Foxx, all of these things really make a big difference, and we have to continue.
And even in small towns, this is even happening in my hometown. A woman who was a little bit ahead of me when growing up, and she's cousins, like our families have long connections, and it is causing major problems in South Louisiana but she's like, look, because she was a judge and she stepped down from her from being a judge to run for the district attorney. Lori Landry. If y'all are in Louisiana, Lori Landry, look her up.
Push it, pump it. Say it again.
Lori Landry, because she realized that part of the problem, because they were trying to take her off the bench because of how she was ruling on cases, because of what the DA was bringing to her. And I think, and I haven't talked about it to her, but she's talked a lot about it. You realize that you have more power as a DA sometimes than you do as a judge. And so she's running now. And honey, let me tell you something. The white folks is getting upset.
Okay.
Let them get upset.
She's putting some fire under them.
But still, Sybil Jeanne, don't you think more young people are woke now than before? Don't you think more young people are getting involved? Look at Black Lives Matters. Thank God for those young people out in the streets now. We did some things like that, but we're older now. And these young kids, I think they're doing a good job going out there.
I too. But for all the marching that they're doing, we got to get them to march to the polls.
Well, I'm pretty sure if you march, you're going to march to the poll.
But here's the thing. Don't assume, George. Don't ever assume anything. Because
you know what happens when you assume, George?
That's me. But I'm just saying that in hope that it is happening. The young people are smarter, and I think they will go out and vote. We need your vote. The young people, when I grew up, there's things you had to do when you turn 18. You had to, first of all, you had to get a job or get out of the house. That's number one. Right? And you had to register at the time for the armed forces. And you had to vote. There's some things that we had to do, some different trainings in different places, I guess. But those are some things we had to do when I was a kid. We had to be a member of the NAACP when I was a kid. We had to have a bank account. You might have $3 in it. And you had to have your own insurance policy when I was a kid.
And you know what, George, some of that has to do with how we were raised. And everybody isn't raised the same way. And because it's not only regional, but it's also generational. And so now we can't make the assumptions that the things that we thought were basic are basic for anybody else, because the world looks very different than it did.
Totally.
And God bless Reverend Jesse Jackson for doing what he does in terms of voter registration, because he still pushes the fact that when these kids come off the stage with their diploma in one hand, they have a voter registration card, or at least the initiation to get your registration done in the other hand. And so that is really important.
I'll be thinking,
okay,
why is it not that when you get your diploma from graduation, you also be registered at the same time?
Well, that's what he does. And so, but apparently that's not what everybody does. And so okay, so George, get started. Let's make it happen.
That's something we should do. That's why, again, it's important to vote to get us on these boards, like our friend Ross Weston, and see when we get our people in, we can make some changes. You think your vote doesn't count? You can make a change if you go there and, like I say, press that button like it's a slot machine, pull that hammer, and all seven's going to be a winner. Be a winner.
That's
These young people, I want you to get out there, because you can have what you want to have. If you want to go out there, all it is a simple vote.
Yeah,
that is absolutely true.
But it's not that simple, because think about this, and all of the efforts and all of the methods of voter suppression that they are doing to stop our vote, whether they are not opening the polls in time, whether they are closing the polls too early, whether they are closing the polls entirely, where hundreds of polling places have been closed and or moved, and they're getting people in there who are not able and not capable to help us as we are going in to place our votes. There's so many different ways that they are doing this and knocking us off the rolls.
In some ways, we're making up for it. Don't you think it's great? Like Old Navy and a few other companies are paying people to go, for people to work at the polls. And I think everybody, and some people are giving people days off now. And I think that's a responsibility for a lot of companies to look into. All of the major companies,
I actually think we should be moving our voting day to a Saturday.
Yeah.
I've thought that.
No, that's not cool at all. We're already off on Saturday. Keep it on Tuesday. Give us Tuesday off. You don't be thinking we need the whole. We're already off on Saturday. Give us Tuesday.
But George, not everybody has Saturday as a weekend. That's not their weekend. So we're still.
Well, more people are off on Saturday than they are Tuesday. Let me put it like that. But I think Tuesday should be a national holiday for the presidency. We should do that.
Yeah, for
even President Barack Obama wants that. President Barack Obama wants that.
Yeah,
and if I was in office, I'd just sign a law, just like executive orders. I would do all kinds of stuff like that.
Can I tell you what else I also think is missing? Because I made the comment to somebody who's not even like maybe 10 years, so like an older millennial, about taking civics in high school, where we learned about voting, and we learned about loans, and we learned about bank accounts, and we learned about how things worked. And I remember talking about that class to a younger colleague, and they were like, why isn't that a rule everywhere? And is that in the olden time? I was like, olden times mean.
They don't teach that anymore.
Yeah.
Also, there should be a course in that civics course also in law. What you need to know about the law. So when the policeman pull, you need a lot of things we don't know then. Now you need to know the right questions, what to do when the police officer pull you over. Know your rights. We need to be taught that every 2 years. Refresher courses. So because somebody probably got killed today. I think a Black person has been killed every week this year by policemen.
Wow.
I think I read 84 Black people have been killed this year.
Well, that's not even one a week. That's more.
That's way more than one a week.
Yeah.
So, but we need to know
what it is.
But we need to know what to do when these police officers pull us over, and they get mad for no reason whatsoever because they've got the badge.
Well, hold on to that, George, because we're going to talk about that story. Because this happened in Georgia, in which a young Black man was riding in a car with his fiance and their children, and they were stopped because of a bad tail light. They were passengers, and the policeman asked this young man for his ID. And he asked them, why? I'm a passenger. And that's when the policeman just beat the living daylights out of this.
Clayton County, right here in Atlanta.
Yeah, in Georgia. Yeah. And
how do they have time to be that messed up? I mean, that doesn't.
Gene.
Yeah.
Gene, some of these police officers, they take these jobs because of power. They want that power. They put that badge on immediately. So when you got a young Black man back there, why? That's all. First thing, why? Because I ask. I'm in charge here, and it pissed the guy off. It pisses all the officers off.
But that kind of rage from someone to just and this young man is 26 years old. He said he lost consciousness a couple of times during the process of this.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
Because can I tell you something? I can't watch those videos anymore. I can no longer.
We don't want to defund the police officers. We just want better training. We don't want them to immediately assume that they're going to kill.
George, beyond better training, we have to have better admission standards too. Because a lot of these kids that are coming onto the police department are former neo-Nazis or maybe still current and other white separatist organizations, and that they come in and nobody is doing background checks on them.
That is so true, and they are where they
or they don't care. Because look at that kid from
or they don't care.
All of them.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's a matter of not caring. Let's turn our head and look the other way,
Yeah.
because there's no way. And that's not to say, I mean, and I have law enforcement in my family.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
and the thing that is really, I think, challenging is that their lives end up being endangered by those same people.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Right. And it's a very sticky situation. And sometimes I wonder if we don't need to just reorganize the whole way it's set
Yeah.
up.
That's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
an article the other day saying, looking at the requirements for every peace officer of whatever they call them in every country in the world,
Mhm.
every first world country in the world, and we're the only one that doesn't require a degree of some
College
sort.
education, yeah.
Even in
Wow.
associates, like there's
Yeah.
some places that it's a 2-year degree or something
Yeah.
like that. But most of Europe, a lot of even some parts of South
That's so
America,
true.
they require way more education beyond just the train. I think here it's in the US, the standard is somewhere between 12 weeks or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. 12
And
that's-
that's just not enough training, especially if you're 20, 22.
Right.
What do you
18.
know?
I think you can leave high school at 18 and go straight to the police department in 9 months. I think you can do that.
That's crazy.
12 weeks.
A lot of
Yeah.
need to be
That's
making decisions about nobody's life, not even
Exactly.
18.
I was not there.
Not
I was
even
not
close.
there. Jean, I want to talk about coronavirus, and I know that this is a subject that has affected you personally, but just to give an update to people regarding the way that this virus has affected our children. That's what we're talking about in the What You Need to Know newsletter today, and it says that Black, Hispanic, and Native American represent the majority of COVID-19 deaths in children. This is a report by the CDC, and it found that between February 12th and July 31st, children under the age of 21 accounted for 390,000 cases, and 121 deaths.
Ugh.
And they showed that 78% of the children who died from the illness were of color, 45% being Hispanic, 29% Black, and 4% were non-Hispanic or American Indian or Alaska Native. And the fact that we have somebody who is downplayed it, or as he says, upplayed it, but
Lied like a dog.
Lied like a dog. That's exactly it. And as I said to you before the show, I'm very sorry about your loss. You lost your dad to coronavirus this year, and I can't imagine. I've been there and lost both my parents, but I just cannot imagine in this time. And the thing that has always affected me, Jean, in telling these stories about people and their loss is that how you respond to seeing people who are not doing the right thing now.
The whole thing, this whole season, this whole thing has given me anxiety. I've never known what that is in my life other than nervous moments and things like that. And when my dad died in May, and at that point we didn't know, we knew some things. We knew more than we knew in March for sure, but we didn't know what we know now. And the thing that bothers me is that people are out here and they won't do the simplest things. They won't wear a mask. They won't keep their distance. And that's not that hard to do.
Crazy.
Exactly. Georgia doing right. It takes a couple of seconds. And the thing that bothers me even more is that it's not about you not caring about me and my health. It's about you not caring about yours and your own people.
Family.
The fact that you could carry that back to somebody who could be vulnerable. There was a young man, and it was one of our people in Walgreens the other day. I was checking out, and the young lady who was at the cash register told the young man, "Sir, you're gonna have to wait to put your things until I'm done." He wasn't right up on me, but he was like,
he wasn't in that social distance.
He wasn't on the little spot he was supposed. He was like, "I ain't got it." And I'm thinking to myself, baby, you clearly have a child at home, a baby at home, because you're buying formula and diapers. And or you go into your baby mama house, whatever it is you have to do, you don't know what you taking in there. Like, you're fine, but what if Granny, who is watching the baby, has diabetes or is overweight or has asthma or what you think? Forget me.
Right.
What about your people? What
Right.
and it gives me, it makes my heart palpitate because we're the ones carrying the burden of the death of that. And that's the reason why a lot of majority people ain't out here with their masks on, because they don't think they can get it. They think it's just us that's going to die.
Right.
And at this point, again, back to what you were talking about earlier, we have to take responsibility for ourselves and protecting ourselves, because nobody's going to do that for us.
Right.
We've not been valued in the way that we should be. And so we have to do this for ourselves. We have to be careful about, and the thing is, you don't realize, I can't imagine being a mother and having my child die in a COVID unit, not being able to breathe and not being there with me, because that's what happened.
Right. That's
Your person dies with you on FaceTime.
Yeah.
That's how I sent my dad back to his maker, on FaceTime, on FaceTime. Now,
I don't.
Grateful that I even got to see him.
Right.
I am grateful that I'm from a small town that has caring people of all colors and religion that were there. The hospice nurse was there rubbing his head the way I would have for him to go. Oh, so I didn't feel like my dad didn't have the care he needed. I think he had that and then some. They were kind. They treated him as if we were there. And we all got to say our goodbyes. But if you're trying to say goodbye to somebody on this side, that's not how you want to do it. And God forbid you send a child into that. My dad was 82 going on 83. He had dementia. He knew his time was coming. I believe that. So my heart is at peace with that part of it. But y'all, I have friends who've been in the hospital by themselves, struggling to breathe.
Right.
When you by yourself and nobody's there to hold your hand, what is wrong with y'all? Put the damn mask on, man.
Yeah.
Put the mask
Put
on.
it on. Put the mask on and keep your distance.
And that's it, Jean. Put the damn mask on.
I apologize to ask you this, because I think, to me, it's a very tough question, and it goes back to leadership of 45. I don't know how you think, but I would hold him responsible for my demise. I
do.
Yeah.
I do. I do now, especially after the news came out last week with those tapes from Bob Woodward. When I saw that, I was physically sick. Last week was one of my worst weeks. I had to take my Xanax every day because my nerves were shot. I couldn't sleep. I was having issues because it sat on my spirit. Because let me tell you something, and part of it is because my aunt said, and you know your seniors. Yep, see? You know your seniors. They be sitting in front of MSNBC all day long, CNN. They even go over the top just to see what other people saying. My daddy was one of them. My aunt is one of those. And when my daddy died, my aunt said, my dad's youngest sister, my Auntie Faye, she said, I blame that man. I blame that man in the White House. And I was like, well, Auntie Faye, you're right. You are right that he has contributed to this and set up a situation. She says, no, I hold him personally responsible for your father's death.
Yes.
And here we are. And I was like, okay, that's a little harsh, Auntie Faye, but okay, I feel you. I see where you're going. And now I know how she felt then, and she saw something that I didn't see or couldn't see then because I was a little too close to it.
Sure.
But I do hold him responsible for all 200,000 deaths and however many more come. Parents who've lost someone, because you know what? Because we still don't have a national policy.
Exactly. And last week when it did come out, and I remember writing this, that instead of the Attorney General Bill Barr having the audacity to put his Department of Justice staff on a defamation of character situation against Donald Trump because of an alleged sexual assault, an alleged rape, he should be having his people do some work, because every person who has been affected by this virus should be bringing charges against Donald Trump and the government of the United States of America for murder.
And what about yesterday? Didn't the CDC yesterday say the mask might be even better
This
than a
is
vaccine.
the head of the CDC, and then Donald Trump today is going back and saying,
Sybil!
no, he misunderstood the question.
He misunderstood. He said that.
Yeah,
He said that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
no, but he didn't
Yeah.
misunderstand anything because you don't understand. But y'all, seriously, and here's the thing that's funny. I posted something about that when the day after, like I meditated on it, I prayed on it, and I was like, it's that feeling when you realize that somebody is responsible. Because I think when there's an illness,
Yes,
and things like that, you go, okay, this is God's will. This is how it's going to go, and that sort of thing. And that's how you move on and you make peace. That's how it was. And so because I remember when your parents died, you know how it is. You find these places where you can find peace with it. But last week, I realized that all the peace making with this whole thing that I've been doing is kind of a farce because
and that has started a new chapter in your life, Jean, because as you said, that really was the line of demarcation when those tapes came out and all of those things started to make a change. Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I knew he contributed to it because he wasn't
like Annie Faye said. Yeah.
Annie Faye be knowing, girl. Annie Faye be knowing.
George and Jean, let's talk about some good news. And that is this story that has come about. This is taking place once again in the great state of Georgia, George, where two women came together.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Two women came together and encouraged families to buy parcels of land. They got together and bought 97 acres of land. 19 families have gone in to purchase. Yes. And this is a real estate agent, Ashley Scott, and her friend and entrepreneur, Renee Walters. They said they did not initially plan to buy a large plot of land, but they saw this rural property in Wilkinson County, and they knew that it was meant to be. So now you got Wakanda in Georgia, right? So they reached out to family and friends, and 19 families, and now they are working on Freedom, Georgia.
That's the name of it.
That's what they're going to call it.
I'm going to buy 100 acres. I'm going to buy 100 acres in Atlanta. We're going to call it Wallaceburg, okay? We're going to call it Wallaceburg. And this is what's going to happen in that little community, because these are the type people that you call it a village. And everybody's going to take care of everybody's kids, and everybody's kids are going to be respectful. They're going to be talking about that. It's going to be a real village. And I would like to have Wallaceburg. And I tell you, a lot of shit we're going on Wallaceburg.
Starting with a comedy club.
Starting with a comedy club. Starting with kids respecting their parents and respecting everybody else. And guns, if you come in, there's going to be a sign up. You got a gun? On the street in your car, go to jail. There's no question about it. It's just that's what it's going to be. It's a lot of laws. A lot of things we could do better in our community.
Because
and
George,
you got to vote, and you got to vote. Everything you got to do right.
Because you be thinking, George. You be thinking.
It's we can do better. We can do better. We got to
we will.
Civility. We got to treat people better. We just got to be nice. Stop. Some of the young kids got to stop doing some of the stupid things they do too. Stop stealing, going into these stores and causing problems and. Like in Atlanta, we had a situation here where the little young kids were out selling bottles of water on the street, right? Well, so when they come running to your car, I don't know when I want that bottle of water. It kind of scares me. And I know if it scares me, it scares the white people, you know? But some of them wound up stealing purses out of people's cars. Some of us young people got to stop doing some stupid things that we do.
And we also have to make sure that they have opportunities that are legitimate, that they don't feel like they need to do that. Because some of this stuff is not just suffering and not doing something. Some of it is about giving them what they deserve to begin with. I mean, one of the things that I feel super blessed with is that, I come from a family that owns farmland. And I grew up understanding what that meant, even though I didn't know what it meant at the time. It has taken me my whole life to do it. But it's funny, Annie Faye again is like, she, on that side of the family, she's been encouraging me and my cousins, y'all, you know what? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a family compound? And you know what the thing is that, and she's been saying this for years, and we finally have caught up to her and like, You know what? That's a really good idea. And we could do this and we could do that. We could be right there down the road and stuff. So we all have, because we've all kind of moved away, even though there's some of us that are still, you know, in Iberia Parish and Lafayette Parish in Louisiana. But it's about being close to where our people are from, and having those roots. And I never realized how important it was. Like one of my uncles, you know, was really adamant about us holding on to my grandfather's farm, even though none of us are farmers. We rent out that land, but he was like, that's that's our land.
That's right.
That's ours. They not making no more of it.
Right.
That's right.
That's right.
And so
you guys, we're coming to the end, but Jeanne Sparrow, I am so proud of you.
Here.
I know, and you will
Wait a
come
second.
back.
I'm not looking at my clock. We've
this
been
is
here.
so much fun.
Oh my God! I thought we were about 30 minutes in. Oh my God! I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I haven't seen you, Sybil, since, or worked together with you since forever.
I know. So
I've always been so proud of you.
I am proud of you.
Walking
Thank you.
behind you and that whole thing. And it's just good to it's just good, sis.
It's good to reconnect. It really is. And it's something that we should do. And now that we are of that age and that period of our lives, we should do more of that.
Here's what I'm gonna do, Sybil. You know,
you're gonna take us to Paris?
Hell no, we already went to Paris.
We go back to Hawaii.
Sybil, but I tell you what we're gonna do. We're going to Portillo's. Listen, I do want to get together. I talked to Kelly G this morning. I want our whole group to get together and let's have dinner. I will sponsor that in Chicago. Nice. I will personally sponsor that in Chicago. At Portillo's, it ain't gonna be that expensive.
Every time George comes to Chicago, we don't go nowhere but to Portillo's. I love Portillo's, but damn.
Hey, Jeanne, when I first took them to Portillo's, I said, I'm gonna take you to a great place to eat. They chewed me out. You brought us to a hot dog joint. They chewed me out like crazy. Every time after that, can we go to Portillo's? Can we go to Portillo's? Greatest restaurant in Chicago.
It's good.
I don't know about the greatest, but it is a good place to get a good hot dog.
Sybil and I will have our own brunch someplace.
Thank you.
You came close then, Jeanne.
So thank you, Jeanne Sparrow. Like I said, I'm so proud of you and keep up the great work. Where can people hear you?
I am on Saturday mornings from 6 a.m. to noon. I inherited Herb Kent's old spot.
Oh my God! Yeah. The old dust rag.
I'm doing the Saturday morning wake up club on G103, 102.7 iHeart. You can catch us on the iHeart Radio app, and I'm enjoying life, girl. Nice, I do little guest spots here and there like this, and I'm speaking and consulting and just, loving life post every day, waking up at 2 a.m.
Amen.
Nobody don't miss that at all,
girl.
No.
Will you come back, Jeanne? Will you come back again with us, please?
Absolutely. I would be honored to, George.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And one thing we all three did, we bought good teeth.
Mine came out of my head.
Yeah, I thank my parents for this. So good for you. Hey, George, thank you so much. Jeanne, thank you again. And George, we'll see you next week. Everybody have a great weekend. Don't forget to wash your hands, wear your mask, and fill out your census if you haven't done that yet.
I love you, and there's absolutely nothing you can do
about it. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.